disgusting, like, lumpy gas sack here. Hello everyone, my name is Grayson and welcome back to the start of a new Let's Play of Age of Wonders Planetfall in the My Galactic Empire mode. You knew this was coming. My Planetfall schedule is extremely routine at this point. So, we have completed our previous planet of Dio's Lament with Anathema, the Void Watcher. Over here we have this sort of maelstrom of darkness here that she kind of watched over, and with the help of our Empire, the Builders, we have stopped the Void from spawning infinite hopper hounds and taking over the galaxy, essentially. It's almost turning into a Starship Troopers type situation. So we've now used all of these different characters one time each for a planet. So I've been kind of on the fence about whether or not I should start with Gertie Badger for this next planet, because she only got 8 or 9 episodes total before we won, because we somehow managed to make friends with both of the Devar players that were already established on the planet. Even though they were supposed to go to war, we made friends with both of them, and then we just won suddenly from that. So I could use Gertie Badger since she didn't have much time to shine, but instead I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start a new group, and I'll show you what I'm going to do here as soon as we pick our planet. So we have Complexity Horrific. That's a great way to describe it. Look at the shadow on that. That's what's happening here. Shadow Wreath. This world's atmosphere makes visibility tough, letting armies escape detection with ease. All player-owned units gain universal camouflage, and we unlock the relic Misfortune's Paw. Jeez, that sounds terrible. Here all along, there's an alliance of 1 Shakarn and 2 other empires present on this planet. Growth Garden. The first seed of the growth forms the heart of a sprawling growth garden on this world. Their roots spread wide, aggressively rebuffing and colonizing. Aggressively rebuffing any colonizing efforts. So you start at war with growth. There's tons of growth, but you can get another relic. And Pointless. This world features a great many military purpose satellites that can be repurposed with ease. Tactical operations do not cost operation points, so we never need to upgrade our ability to cast things unless we just need more strategic points, which are of course very important, but tactical operation points are in abundance. So really we need money, not more points. So that's interesting. So let's see, what else do we have? We have Ramsos B. This is a low complexity with nothing to unlock. We're not going to do that one. Cauldron 86. Complexity mild, infertile, so there's no food landmarks. Cost food for acquiring new colonists is increased by 20%. Oh no. No food nodes, no food landmarks. Wow. And it has a quartzite deposit, so we can get the psionica and quartzite are common, and we can unlock the crystallized core. We also have Virginia, complexity medium, rapid evolution, sci-fish hunting grounds, and pointless again. So sci-fish would let us get the sci-fish. Rapid evolution, wildlife threat level is set to extreme. Well, that's interesting. That's really interesting. Oh, and Duskor. How many planets are there here? We have turbulent atmosphere. Flying units suffer from turbulence. Infertile and sci-fish hunting grounds. Interesting. Here's another one that doesn't have anything to unlock. Here is one with psychoactive crystals, psionica spawners. We get the psionic crystal. Interesting. Rich waters. Income from river features and aquatic sectors is increased. Map type is continents. Cool. Oh, look at this. Look at these. What's going on here? Is that the crystals? That's cool. And then we're back to Fortuna Mort. Now, I'm very interested in this one, but I'm scared of doing a universal camouflage game. All player-owned units gain universal camouflage. That is just terrifying, though. Terrifying. Man, I don't know. That's gonna be rough. It could end in a loss because we won't know when we're getting attacked, and there'll be an alliance on the planet that we have to not like make enemies with, or they could send unknown levels of forces after us all the time, which is terrible. I'm tempted to go with this one, the Sci-Fish and the Turbulent Atmosphere, Resonance Gland, and the Void Lure for the Sci-Fish. Very interesting. I think I might do Duskor. I see that these are all... I can't change them here, which is interesting. So, orbital relay specializations built grants substantial Imperial renown. Residential sectors built gives us a boost for Amazon. Capable pets. Sci-fish dwelling claimed gives us a substantial Imperial renown and experience boost. Okay. Completing this one will trigger a victory condition. So I guess if we probably have to claim both of them. There's probably 2 on the planet. So let's do this one. So let's select commander for Duskor. And what we're going to do here is I do not like the Syndicate. I also do not like Xenoplague. So we're going to make a Syndicate Xenoplague, and I'm going to get both of these out of the way now and then never go back. So what do we want to do here? Let's make a... let's make somebody on the ground that shoots weapons, because we get a lot of these close combat. We have like a close combat character and a bunch of vehicle characters, but we don't have anybody that shoots guns, really, except for Gertie Badger, who, again, we didn't really use much. So we could do this one, get the Pulse Repeater... Syndicate Assault, Sci-Tech Grenade, or we could get, yeah, Pestilence and Bio Grenade, or just basic equipment, Pulse Repeater, Sci-Tech Grenade. What do we want to do here? I hate the Xenoplague. I don't want to. Dwelling trading is cheaper. Decrease economic research. Let's do Merchant Scion. They already are really good at this. Actually, let's talk about that really quickly because I've never used the Syndicate and the Xenoplague on this channel. So, starting bonus for the Syndicate is 25 extra influence. Now, this is a huge bonus because we can get our first city that we want to bribe way earlier. That's like 5 turns of influence faster, which is amazing. Long-term bonuses, we get an extra doctrine slot. Doctrines are so much fun. We have arc weapons group, so electricity. We have psi weapons group, so the like psionic stuff that bypasses armor. And we have indentured slave units that ignore morale penalties. So we have some of our soldiers just can't get positive or negative morale. And we have excellent stealth capabilities and covert operations. And our scout, I believe, has universal camouflage, which is super helpful to keep them alive. But they're not super useful for anything else. Xenoplague is kind of... has some similarities in its theme in that it's kind of like kind of slavey. Like these guys keep these mindless slaves. The Xenoplague are kind of like aliens that attach themselves to you and turn you into their slave. So Xenoplague spreads through a highly adaptive alien parasite, can be used to create biological weapons, develop super soldiers, and evolve planetary populations. So we start with a pustule, which is terrible. We spawn and evolve special units after battle. We heal and enhance biological units. We deploy infectious bioweapons, and we use biochemical and kinetic. So these don't mesh at all, really, but we're going to do it. So let's go back over here. So we've spent 2 points. We have Merchant Scion. Let's go down here and take the classic Kleptomaniac for the extra 1 point. So we have 2 points. So I'll probably grab... Could get a larger starting army or an extra population in a recreational dome. Let's do that. Let's try to expand quickly. And then we'll start with basic equipment and we'll find better stuff or something. Merchant Scion, Kleptomaniac. Okay. Yeah, let's do that. That'll be interesting. Okay, so let's hit next. I am thinking, do I want to make a male or a female? Let's make a male this time. And let's just randomize a little bit until we find somebody that kind of feels slavey, parasite-y. Oh, I like that guy's hat. That's a cool hat. That's not bad. That's not bad. I really don't play with the Syndicate very often, so I don't know what their options are. Now, his color scheme, this is not bad. I like this, actually. There we go. It looks a little pompous there. So we want... What colors do we want? I actually love that purpley color. Is actually quite fantastic. I'm liking this a lot, actually. We might just kind of poke around in here. What other colors can we make? You know what? I kind of like that. Maybe this... No, let's go with this this peachy color, I think. I don't know. I'm colorblind. Yeah. Okay. That's pretty cool. I like this guy. So let me pause while I come up with a name for this character. We are back with Father Bill, Tentacle Lover. He is a priest of the holy faith of the tentacle worship, and he has come to the builders to put a tentacle in every man, woman, and child because he just loves it so. So we've chosen his, we've altered a little bit of stuff here to give him some priestly vestments here and a weird cult-like mask, and his symbol here is a person with tentacles coming out. So yeah, here we have Father Bill, Tentacle Lover. I bet you didn't expect to have me unpause to this. I didn't either. So we're done. We're done with Father Bill. Okay, so what do we want to requisition for him? Well, I think you all know that I'm going to be putting freaking, what the hell is that called? Replicating Restoration, the best operation in the game, in there. And then as well as terms of mods and operations, so let's see, we have... For operations, we have kinetic, biochemical, we have... So we might want some doctrines, because we have an extra doctrine slot on this character, so we have something for combat. We might want a doctrine and then like another strategic one, so let me pause and think about this. All right, Father Bill has leaned heavily into the influence game here. So we have our Replicating Restoration, which of course we need. I took Dwelling Intimidation, so this will give us a 10% discount when dealing with NPC factions. So buying operations and units and stuff from the different NPC factions will cost less. But our faction, our War Quest rewards trigger at 6 units defeated instead of 10. So because we're going to start at war with the Sci-Fish, every time we kill 10 units, we get rewards for defeating them. Now it'll be 6 instead once we get this one on. I also took the Native Displacement Act. The cost of moving independent armies is reduced by 30%. So I'm assuming there will be a second. There's 8 players, so there's probably going to be 2 or 3 NPC factions. So for the other ones that I'm not at war with, I can ask them to leave the sites they're on for cheaper. Again, this saves us more influence, so we have enough influence to buy tons and tons of stuff from the NPC factions. So that'll be really useful. So let's head on over to units. So again, we're going to have some biochemical stuff, not a lot. We're going to have some kinetic stuff, not a lot. A lot of our units like the pustules and the devourers are going to be doing some physical damage as well as some biochemical like goop shots. And then we've got the big plague lord guys that are super cool, so we'll have to see if we want to get something for them. And then our units are going to be doing arc and psionic, so it's a little bit hard to pick since we're picking 2 things that don't mesh very well. So I'm thinking for units, you know, I probably want something that's going to mesh with the arc mods. So we're going to have basic range troops. We may need some sort of bruiser, some sort of like, you know, something that could get in there and like, you know, a Pteranodon would actually be pretty sweet with this group because we could get some really cool like regeneration stuff with the Xenoplague. Or is that the... Not the Xenoplague, that might be the Kirko I'm thinking of. But we could get some really cool like bonus health and stuff like that from the Xenoplague, as well as some like status effect resistances. So something like a Pteranodon could be a really big asset to us, just having like a big, just melee bruiser type unit. Could also be something like this Therian Apex could be something we could use. Where's the Therian Sharpshooter with the biochemical shot? These guys are so good because they heal as well. These are fantastic units. I might just slap them in there. I might slap the... Well, destroyers, we're already going to... But we could recruit destroyers rather than have to wait for them to be produced through pustules. That's a weird idea. I don't think I should do that. I could also bring in something like the Hopperhound Blade Maws. But without being Amazon, we won't get as much benefit out of these guys, I don't think. So maybe we slap in something like this. Or there was also that Voradon here. It's got the Claw Strike and Devour. This would be a little cheaper. We could get this a lot earlier in the game than we would be able to with the Pteranodon. So let's pop that one in there. And then maybe we want something that does arc damage. So something along the lines of Assembly or something like that. Let me pause real quick and see if I can find something that would fit here. So I've ended up with the Therian Sharpshooter, the Voradon, and then it took me a really long time to decide, and ultimately I ended on the Vanguard Engineer. Now, this is dangerous because if we end up at war with the Vanguard, then we're going to have morale problems on these engineers, and we're not going to be able to use them. So this is sort of a... You know, I'm not sure if I'm going to be pulling these in or not, but I do like the idea of using their healing, their repair tools, and their targeting calibration on the Syndicate's vehicles. The Syndicate have a fair number of pretty powerful vehicle units, actually. And so this way we would have sort of a support unit to keep them up, while we have this unit, a support unit for our biological things, which we're going to have a good number of. So kind of bringing in some support units that I don't really have, that, you know, I might need some access to that. And then, as well as biochemical. And I've got this Voradon, just sort of like a big bruiser kind of unit that might synergize well with some of those Xenoplague mods that would give it some health and resistances and such. And the Syndicate do have a healer, but I still love these sharpshooters. I think they're really good units just in a vacuum. They're certainly squishy, but I mean, they just do a ton of damage, and the fact that they can heal and do damage at very long range is just very, very useful. So we're going to go with them. For mods, that's going to be a tricky one because I got quite a bit of mods here to look through. So let me pause on that and I'll come right back. Okay, after much deliberation, I have settled on 3 mods I think are going to be very useful and important. The first of which, the most important, is ocular implants. Now, this grants the unit detection, which will be very helpful if there are any sort of camouflage shenanigans going on. +1 strategic vision range, 20% bonus to critical hit chance, and 10% increased damage. This feels like it will pair very nicely with this Therian sharpshooter as well as the Syndicate sharpshooter that we have access to. So that's just a really good mod for long-range units, because ideally they stay alive, they stay with the army, they help you detect things. You get extra vision if you don't have a scout with your army, and of course critical hit chance on a sniper is big because of their huge damage numbers. You get a crit on that, it's just, you could wipe out a unit. With Xeno Defense module, I was kind of slamming my head against the wall here trying to figure out how I can prepare for the Psyfish. The Psyfish do psionic damage, and that bypasses armor, and if it's ranged it still hits shield, so that's certainly an option, but it's tough to come up with like a defensive mod for them because, you know, you have things like the grounding harness plus stagger resistance and +2 arc resistance and an armor. While those are not helpful against the Psyfish, they don't really do that much stagger, they don't do arc, and they don't hit your armor. And the same with down here, interlocking armor, kinetic resistance and armor. You know, we've got the Pyrex, thermal resistance, like these aren't helpful. But I found the Xeno Defense module. It gives 3 damage resistance to the last damage type it received. So if someone's getting hit by repeating psionic damage from the Psyfish, which is something they all do, this will give them +3 damage to that last type of damage they took. So this might be super helpful. It also gives a shield point, which again does work on psionic unless it's melee psionic, which the Psyfish don't really do. We also have the nanite injectors. This is just a really good all-around early game mod. It could even be used later game because of the fact that after you pop this, it gives you resistance to all damage channels by 3 for 2 turns. So this is a great mod for like a melee character, like a Voradon. You know, you run in there, you've got an extra 15 health hanging out in the you know, waiting for you when you need it, plus the 1 armor. And then when you pop this, you still have a point left over you can use to attack. And then you have the +3 damage resistance for 3 turns. Very useful, pretty great item there. So I think this right here is making me feel like I'm shoring up a lot of the weaknesses of the Syndicate. I really went with, like here I'm trying to enhance their strengths with their ability to generate influence, and here I'm trying to shore up their weaknesses as well as support their vehicles, and then over here I'm trying to prepare for the battle against the Psyfish. So I've got a little bit of supporting their strengths, supporting their weaknesses, and then preparing for this particular fight against the Psyfish, which will be difficult. So we can go ahead and launch the game here with Father Bill, Tentacle Lover. Let's spread the good word.
Salutations, scion of the Syndicate. Your ancestors led the earliest conquest of space, gathering fortunes and establishing aristocratic houses across the galaxy. Despite having to submit to the Star Union, wealth, influence, and a caste of servants have followed your houses to this day. Nobility brings obligations. Don't have the collapse of the Union turn you into a petty robber baron. Restore this planet to civilization.
All right, here we are with Father Bill, Tentacle Lover. We're the Syndicate. We have Xenoplague with us. We love tentacles in this house. So we have an 8-player map. We have 60% water, 40% land about. So we are going to have to think about naval vessels for the first time in Oh god, I can't remember the last time I built a naval vessel in this game. It's been like 6 planets because they're all lava and void. All right, so let's head on in. We have our regular victory conditions. I don't think we have any special ones. I will double check when we get in. It's a cool city. Cool little colonizer thing. All right, we're in. So let's take a look at our units that we have, and then we will, I guess we'll probably head off and do something. So this might actually end up being an episode 1 rather than episode 0. I guess you'll already know from the title of the video. So let's take a look real quick at our stuff we start off with here. We have Syndicate Runner. Now this is our scout unit. Very low damage here, 7 repeating. Does have flanking, which is interesting. I think they can go through stuff. No, they can't go through stuff, but they are floating, so they can move a little bit quicker. They have the escape module, very interesting and rare ability. When they drop to 0 health, they teleport to a random position 3 hexes away and revive with 15 health. So they essentially cannot be killed with a, like, if you're shooting them with a repeating attack and you hit them with like your first one and they die and teleport, they won't keep getting hit. It kind of like cancels it. So you essentially cannot kill these guys with only 1 unit in 1 round. You need multiple hits, and you may not be in range because they teleport around. They have these bolas. You've probably seen these before as a secondary weapon on a character. I think there's a bola attack on the Apex Predator maybe, or sometimes they get a mod or something, but these can have a chance to immobilize things, which is pretty interesting. It's not too bad of a chance. 8 strength chance isn't too bad. And their defense mode gives them extra shield and makes them harder to hit as usual. They only have 1 shield and 30 armor. This is really not a unit you want to have to take into combat. There's a little too much luck involved with these units because they're so squishy that, you know, you've got the randomization of where they go when the escape module kicks in, and then you've got the defense mode making them take less damage and be harder to hit, but if they do get hit, it's going to hurt. And let's see, anything else interesting about them? Yeah, they're a scout unit, so they are mobile reconnaissance. It doesn't look like they have bonus vision range, which is unfortunate. Some scouts have that and some scouts don't. But these ones are universally camouflaged, so no one can ever see these unless they have detection or if they're right next to them. So these scouts are easier to keep them alive against like the marauder forces in the world. They're not going to run into enemies and die nearly as easily. They won't be being chased around like a lot of other scouts do. So in here we should have another runner. Yep, here's another runner. Here's our pustule, our Xenoplague unit we start with. This disgusting, like, lumpy gas sack here, of which this is the smaller one. There's a bigger one called a bloated that we'll probably get to show off not too many episodes from now. Now this is a combat unit. They have a much higher damage, a repeating 11 damage that's stagger, and has parasitic infection, which is really, really cool. So a parasitic infection, let's look it up in the compendium. This unit has minus 200 morale and minus 1 to all damage resistances. After combat, this unit may turn into a Xenoplague unit if the one who infected it has the appropriate Xenoplague technology unlocked. So what that means is if we get parasitic infection on units and then we win the combat, there's a chance that they spawn pustules for us. So we can create armies of these not fantastic little pustule guys. I mean, they're okay. I mean, they do a lot of damage. They are a little bit squishy. 40 health and 1 armor isn't bad, but they are melee, so they do have to kind of get up there. But we can spawn armies of these guys that can actually evolve over time into more and more powerful things, which is a super cool mechanic. I just don't like playing them is all. They also have this ambush leap. They can jump forward 3 hexes, and they damage them and push them back and stagger them, which is really great. So you can jump into a melee unit, stagger it out of Overwatch, and push it and deal damage to it, and then it's trapped there with you. Pretty cool ability. Has regular defense mode. Is immune to negative morale effects, cannot be mind controlled. Now, skitter is a very important thing for it here. This unit is 5% harder to hit for each hex it moved during its last turn. So these units, if you have like 3 of them, you can just sprint up to the enemies and their chance of hitting them is extremely bad. Now, that's typically they're going to be harder to hit with range and not so hard to hit with melee, but you know, every once in a while someone will miss in melee and then they get free hits back, which is awesome. They also have small target, which makes them 10% harder to hit with range attacks. So again, that, you know, they're really hard to hit with range attacks. If you can even run them through Overwatch sometimes and not get hit, which is really fantastic. They're also amphibious for some reason, so they can actually run along the surface of water. So they're actually able to just go right out into the water, which is really quite strange. I think all of these Xenoplague units are amphibious, of which there are only 3 of them actually. Sort of only 3 of them. So let's take a look. We've got our commander here, Father Bill, Tentacle Lover. The reason there's no space here, his name isn't Father Bill. It's that I only had one character. I had no characters left, so I couldn't put a space in there. So it's Father Bill, Tentacle Lover. So he starts with this Pulse Repeater, 10 damage repeating. He has a Sci-Tech Grenade. It is psionic damage, so it bypasses all armor and can apply Cripple. And he has the X7 Combat Stims. Gains 25% accuracy for 4 turns as a free action once per battle, and gives 10% extra damage. That's actually an awesome mod. That's just an all-around good mod just for early shooting. Shooting. What else do we have? We have the Xenoplague Parasite. It's probably a good one. It gives health and gives him those much-loved tentacles that he loves so much. Look at him. He's probably having the best day of his life. Let's just confirm that now. He needs those tentacles. So we got the Pulse Repeater, these stims. He's got 6 status effect resistance. +2 resistance against non-psionic status effects. Well, yeah, that's unfortunate that it specifically says non-psionic, because that's what we're going to be fighting. He is mind control immune, which is fantastic, because the stupid sci-fish love taking over your units and using them against you. He has Overwatch and all the regular sort of hero stuff there. We start with 2 of our Indentured. These are our basic. These are like your Vanguard Troopers or your Paragon Soldiers. These are just shooty boys, you know, just a squad of shooty boys. They've got repeating Pulse Repeaters. They have Overwatch, one of the few Overwatch core units. Cerebral Control Collars. This is interesting. This unit is immune to all morale effects and gains 2 psionic resistance. It's now considered an Indentured unit. So they essentially are wearing these collars because they are indentured, quote unquote, aka they're basically enslaved. So they have to fight and obey the commands of their syndicate overlords, sort of against their will until they pay off their debts or however they got enslaved. So we have Power Blast here, fire a powerful short-range blast. This unit enters defensive mode afterwards. Can do stagger and knockback. Pretty cool. Actually has extra accuracy. That's wild. Discipline, 10% critical hit chance as long as an Overseer or Subjugator is present. So that's a really interesting feature. They have a higher chance to crit because they have this this unit down here. So let's take a look at that unit. We have our Syndicate Overseer. Now this is our support unit, our tier 2 support unit. Can't build these yet. Point the tip of a staff at the enemy to fire blasts of psionic energy. Sci-Tech Staff, repeating 8 psionic. Not very much damage, but it bypasses armor, so it could do pretty good damage to things like Devar units who aren't going to have a lot of shield typically. They also have this heal. Target-friendly biological or cyborg unit heals for 20 and is cleared of all negative status effects. Very powerful. That's awesome. Cerebral Override. Target Indentured suffers 5 psionic damage, but regains all of their action points. Gains stagger immunity, and its health cannot be reduced below 1 until the start of the next turn. Doesn't work on Indentured, unable to move or take action. So they can kind of buff an Indentured to kind of suicide in there, and they can't die for a little bit, which is super awesome. And they get all of their action points, so you could use them twice, basically cracking the whip and forcing them to fight again. They also give healing out to the stack. So each turn, everyone in this stack will heal a little bit faster because there's one of these Overseers in here. And they impose that discipline thing that they were getting that gives them the crit chance. Other than that, they've got all the sort of regular stuff. They've got the psionic tag, which is interesting. Specialist, yep, light, land movement, biological infantry. Okay. So what we're probably going to do here is send our scout out somewhere. We'll leave one with the army and send one out. These are really unclaimed. This is Cosmite just right here. That's pretty cool. I'll take that. All right, let's take that. And we found this slag spewing generator down here. That's cool. Energy. Let's take a look at what else is around our starting zone here. We have a limitless batteries zone here that has sci-fish on it, so we'll have to fight them. They've got 640 power, but this would be a great early game place to grab for all the extra energy we would get. That's cool. We might go right there, actually. I bet we can handle that. Do we have any operations?
Operations available for primary.
Parasitic strike. Regenerative infections and sleep. Okay. So we have a little bit of stuff here right off the bat. We have some energy and some... God, a lot of energy around here. We're going to have to expand further out and see what we can find. There's a happiness building here, which is great. And here's another energy structure. So this would be a great energy location because it would double up. Some of these give extra if it's in... Yeah, if it's in an energy exploitation, it gives extra energy, which is great. So we'll probably want these two for energy, and then we'll probably grab this one for residential. We might have to get... Oh, Friendship Cove! I love Friendship Cove. So we have some water down here. I don't know if this connects to like a main body of water. We'll have to start exploring to find out. Here is a sci-fish dwelling right here. So that's pretty spooky. We'll have to deal with that at some point. I wonder if they have more than one. Probably. Probably. What else did we start with? Sci-fish war. Discovered sci-fish dwelling. We've got our victory condition. Destroy the 2 sci-fish dwellings. We have all of our Imperial Renown stuff. We can annex our first sector immediately because we're already at 4 population, which is awesome, because we started with an extra one. And we started with...
It isn't disease that breaks civilization.
A couple of researches here.
An inferior military...
The third one, destroyers.
We have not lost control of this problem.
Interesting. So that means our pustules can... What? Plague Lord?
Legend states we kill...
Wait a minute. That's impossible. Oh my god, we start with extra text and they happen to be all in one line, so we have all the units. So we could technically get Plague Lords in like 2 combats. That is stupid. That's so stupid. I wouldn't be able to afford their upkeep. Oh god. Oh, it's really funny. All right, well, I guess this is going to be an episode 0 after all, so I think we're going to call this episode to an end here because we are all out of time. So I hope everybody's enjoying this episode 0. It was really fun to show off my new character, Father Bill, Tentacle Lover, and I hope you'll be along for the ride, and we'll get into some stupid shenanigans like we do with all of our other games. So thank you, everybody, so much for watching. Please consider liking and subscribing. I would really appreciate it, and I will see everybody in episode 1.